obviously was down 21, and then I ended up and Wood went on straight with those three. What do you feel like happened after that? Obviously, you made some changes to Payne and all out. What do you feel like for that?
You know what, man? It's one of those games where you just have to stay with it and live with the results. I was just proud of the fact that we didn't give in. I think we were down 17 at half, 22 maybe in the third, and then I think 15 in the fourth after Wood hit a few shots. Book was really good in the huddles. Even when we were down 15, I didn't see it, but I heard he got the guys together and told them, like, this is nothing, but we got to stay here. And we've been talking about that all of training camp. Like, how can we deal with the emotional ups and downs of the game? I thought that helped us win the game tonight. We just stayed with it. I mean, obviously, Book has 28. DA was amazing in the second half because he wasn't in foul trouble. He did pick up his fourth, but he was able to stay out of the foul trouble that he had in the first half. But then Damion comes in and just makes plays. And I thought Mikhail's timely deflections and rebounds offensively really helped us too. But it's just one of those emotional games where you try to stay as steady as you can. When the waves of threes or when Luka's making plays, it can deflate you a little bit. I thought our guys did a pretty good job of staying with it tonight.
What made you go with that Paul sit like 6 minutes in the game?
Well, that's normally where I take them out anyway. So I usually give them a 3-minute break and then I bring them in to close. That's been the rotation for us. But Cam came in, we had like a good rhythm. And I just felt like it was the move to just stay with Cam, and Chris was engaged and telling guys, it was almost like he was out there, but it was really his time to come out. I tried to get him out around the 7-6 and give him about 3 minutes rest and then have him come in and close. Cam did such a good job with that group. That group as a whole was pretty good on both ends. And so I just rolled with it.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah, he just had a cramp. He was cramping up. No, it was his leg, I think. So I think he's fine. I was grateful for that because I didn't know what it was. And then they told me that he was cramping.
What does it say about Damion, pretty quiet to some quarters, and then they hit shots like that before?
I just think guys who've been in those situations, who've been in those environments, like he was in Golden State, like not much phases a guy like that. If it does phase him, he knows how to deal with it. And he's been around guys who've, walked through those situations before. I think that rubs off on you. And, his ability to bounce back after he gave up the and one that tied the game, to be able to come back and, the willingness to take that shot and let alone make it says a lot about who he is. But I just feel like guys who've been in those environments, who've been in those practices, who've been in those games, they handle those situations a lot better than guys who haven't.
The amount of pick and roll that Book and DA were running, is that something
you
wanted to see more of, or did they just figure that out as they were together?
No, it was just what the game showed us. Both teams were, if you charted how many defenses we changed tonight, I bet both teams were all over the board, from zone to switching to blitzes. They were doing everything, and we were. And we just, we read the game. That's what the game was showing us. They were blitzing Book, and we were able to be productive on the backside. I thought a huge play was DA getting it in his little midi area, and he was converting. Because we told him to stop and make the pass on the backside. I don't think he saw the blitz, so Book just threw it and he caught it and was able to finish. But that was what the game showed us, and we just kind of flowed with that.
Do you expect going into the season or into this game that Chris not playing in those moments was something that might happen? Because it is pretty impressive.
No, I'm always open-minded in those situations. And I think, as much as you want to have Chris out there, I know Chris wants to win. But when I took him out, my plan was to get him back in at 3. But then the game was going in a good way. And Cam was playing well, so I didn't want to take him out. So it wasn't, I didn't think it was that big of a decision, but I guess it is because it's Chris.
Is it nice to get Payne's confidence maybe up a little bit after he kind of fell out of playoff rotation at the end?
Yeah, I think for everybody. Make no mistake, today was an emotional day. I mean, maybe not for them because they went on to the Western Conference Finals, but the NBA, you know, they scheduled them on the first night. So you can imagine the buildup for the practices and the amount of information we threw at the guys about this game. And so I think for everybody to be able to mentally and emotionally stay with it was huge for us.
Monty, after the traps for Devin were such a problem for him in the postseason last year, how did you like his ability to make that quick hit to DeAndre and then DeAndre making the play?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we work on for sure, but they have to execute it. We'll give them structure, and then a lot of times they'll go out there and talk about the angle of the screen, where he needs to be in the pocket. It certainly doesn't work if you don't have guys who can make plays on the backside, but DA's become really good in the pocket. He's under control. Sometimes you'll watch him jump stop and make a pass to the weak side. Sometimes he'll convert. And then it's hard to make those passes. Book sees double teams almost every single night. So that doesn't make it easy. But I think those two have a bit of a rhythm in that environment.
You acknowledge the emotion of the big game, this particular matchup. To win in this fashion, what does that do for your team in terms of psyche?
Well, I mean, we have a bunch of vets on our team, so I'm sure we'll be able to turn the page, but they should enjoy it. I mean, we got a few hours to enjoy it, and then, you know, tomorrow we'll turn the page and get ready for the next game. But I think anytime you win in the NBA, it's cool, but, you know, to beat the team that knocked you out, you know, it doesn't erase that feeling and that hurt, but it does help you grow the next season.
So on the bench, you were talking before about it being a committee. It seemed like tonight you were trying to figure out what was working. Put Dario.
No, man, I felt so bad for those guys. I really did. I had Dario in, Josh in and out, Biz in and out. I was all over the place with the rotations, and sometimes that happens because you're just trying to find a combination that will help you gain some momentum. But I also understand what that feels like as a player, because I was in that situation before. So I felt bad for those guys because they weren't able to get out there and play in what players would call a rhythm. But we were just trying to win the game and just searching for any type of combination that would give us some momentum.
Mikael Bridges grabbed 11 rebounds.
Yeah.
Leading the team. I can't remember the last time Mikael led the team in rebounds. How good was that to see him fighting for a lot of contestants?
So, I mean, his effort and Kevin Young's just persistence that we go to the offensive boards. I mean, he's been driving me nuts with that for 2 years. And Mikael, that's right up his alley. I think he and Torrey are the best at our team outside of DA. DA does it naturally, but it's really cool because he's guarding the top guy every night. And then he's got to slash and cut and, you know, shoot threes. So to expend that kind of energy says a lot about his conditioning, but his mental fortitude. That's a heavy load. We put a lot on his shoulders, but he carried it tonight.
Monty in the back here, what was your concern level at halftime?
I mean, we're down 17, so I'm sure my cheeks were puckered a little bit. I mean, it's not a comfortable situation, you know, but that happens in the NBA. Concern about the score, but more concerned with how we were playing. We were making so many mistakes on defense. We had the wrong guys rotating. Luka was stretching us out. We weren't blitzing him tonight, but it looked like a blitz because we just allowed him to stretch us out, and that made our rotations really long. So that was my concern. My concern was the defense. And then offensively, I just thought we just didn't have a rhythm at all. And then in the second half, I think we had 62 points. So that alleviated some of the concern. But for the most part, if I did have any, it was just the mistakes on defense. Yeah, he did.
You think of how bad that may have been, because you can play after you hurt, and once you take that shoe off.
Yeah,
Kind of slow up on you.
you know, I don't know. I don't want to speculate about it, but he was typically, I can tell when he's got to come out. I've done that where you turn it a little bit and it's achy, but you can still play. And then you take your shoe off, like you said, and you just want to get treatment on it right away because it could be stiff the next day. And so I would imagine he's going to have some achiness and stiffness, but he looked me in the eyes like, Coach, I'm good. And when you see him running up and down the floor, you know, the way that he was, you have a bit more confidence.
You thought you really the season you were saying that you play your role, whatever is needed from you. With the night one of those, felt like you need to give them all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, seeing how the game was going, I feel like early in the first quarter, second quarter, obviously we were down big at half, but you know, the guys, especially the second unit, we felt like we weren't playing up to our end. And, you know, came out in the second half, really started with the starters. They came out energetic, got stops, were able to run, rather than fouling, putting them on the free throw line. I think both quarters, they were in the bonus in the first 5 minutes. So essentially you're playing against a set defense. So from my role, being out there, coaches told me to make sure I was out there and be aggressive, do what I do. I passed up a couple shots early, but they started going towards the end.
Take me through that last shot and the traffic, and then you're trying to find some space and then on the floor.
Yeah. They went to go send a double. Well, hey, that book. And we knew that was coming. That was sort of, you know, marinating the whole game. So for us, it was just a matter of what was the best shot. And Book passed it to me. Kale, I believe, cut through. I swung it back to Book to, you know, make sure that he was going to have the last shot. Just understanding and just reading the game, he got it going second half. Ball was in my hands under 7 seconds to go. Just go make a play. Got to my spot. I think if you'll see on the replay, Dinwiddie kind of like tugs at my arm a little bit as I go to, you know, clutch and shoot it. So kind of got him off a little bit, and whatever happened from there happened. I mean, made it, got a win in the left column, so we'll take it.
How big was this for you in the first regular season game for you? And obviously they signed for a reason and they was like you did today.
It's huge. I mean, it really just goes to show the trust that, you know, Coach Monty has, the front office, and, you know, the rest of the coaching staff has in me. Obviously, it's only one game, but even, you know, if we could rewind the play before, you know, forcing Luka, you know, down to get a 2-point shot, ended up going vertical, fouled him. We called the timeout, and Coach just looks at me. He said, "Hey, go make a play. Go make a play." Looked at him, and you know, that's what you want. You know, a coach that's always going to instill that confidence in you, no matter what happens. As long as there's time left on the board, you know, going out there trying to make a positive impact and make a play.
Did that mean something to you? You said you passed the ball down and thinking he was going to take the last shot, but he threw it right back to you.
Yeah.
Kind of had the confidence in you to take it.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean, it you know, just goes to show the kind of guys that we have on this team. Guys that are confident that no matter who's out there on the floor, beginning a game, end the game, you know, that he's confident in me to be able to take that big shot and make that big shot. And that's something that, you know, I don't want to say I pride myself on, but I'll never shy away from, is taking those big shots. But, you know, I know people are giving me the credit and you know, the game winning shot and all that, but this was a total team effort. I mean, if you look, Book, DA, Cam Johnson before he went out, Mikal Bridges starting us off early, like guys were able to, you know, impact the game early enough that gave us enough time in the second half to, you know, spark this comeback.
How would you describe the way you guys defended in the second half?
It was night and day. Night and day from the first half. For like first half, we, you know, kind of call it, let them get the whole menu, you know, whether we were, you know, blitzing, they were in a short roll, they were, you know, we weren't locked in on our concepts and schemes, and obviously it's game one. So nothing's going to be perfect, but night and day, guys, you know, talked in the locker room, came out with the intensity. You know, the third quarter held them to 19 points. That was huge for us. And then going into the fourth, I think we were down again 15, maybe 17 at some point in the fourth quarter. The guys stayed like this rallied, believed in each other, guys from the bench, supporting each other, which was huge.
From a team standpoint, what's it like when the rotations are flying around like that? Everyone's getting a hand on the ball. You get a couple of stops in a row. What does that do for you guys?
It's infectious. I mean, guys knowing, I mean, obviously on offense, you say 0.5, you get the ball moving, but really, the main difference from us from the first quarter, from the first half to the second half was we weren't getting those deflections. We weren't engaging the ball. We weren't getting stops. So they were able to pick us apart and get whatever they wanted. Second half, we picked that up. We were able to get some stops. And some of those easy shots that they felt early in the game, they, felt some more pressure, in the second half.
Your first game as a player here, have you thought about how this might change the way the fans look at you and what they might think of you here?
I mean, what they think is what they think. I'm here for a reason, which is to compete at a high level, be a great support member, whether it's come off the bench, start, whatever it is for this team and give it my all. Obviously, I've been embraced ever since the day I signed, fans, social media and all that stuff. But, I just try to lock in on the task at hand, which is trying to get as many wins as possible and try to be the last team standing.
Speaking of social media, I've seen Steph celebrate from the shot.
No, like 3 people have told me about it, but I mean, I'll see it eventually. But it's dope, man. I mean, it obviously just goes to the support that he has, support from friends, family across the league. And then obviously the teammates, came in the locker room, everyone was, cheered and supportive, but I'm just happy that we got the win. I mean, I wasn't happy at my plus minus at one point during the game, but I'm happy that we got the win.
I know you leading up to the game, you were like, it's going to the revenge game, but it's one game where there was an ankle turn. I was thinking, well, he's coming out, and I thought he did. It felt like he was playing it, like it was more than just playing.
No, it was a revenge game. No, man. We have 81 to go, and that's what I said before the game. Obviously, emotions are involved after. That's the team that put us out, like I said, before the game. We never want to lose any team that we play against. So, to come out and, have a rough first half, rough third quarter, really, still down to start the fourth. I think it showed all of us, even the new guys, what you're capable of when we stick with it. And we held our hat on that last year. We had a lot of success in fourth quarters and coming back late on teams. And so that's that.
I mean, it does. I guess it's another way to ask that. What you built the last 2 years, did that kick in tonight in the second half?
I mean, you can't lose a season in one game. Like I said, every night, you're down, you're losing, and you don't want to lose. So that's my job as one of the leaders of the team to, take initiative. I think all of us together, in the fourth quarter when we're down 15, the bench got a little, not looking at each other. And I was like, yo, we've been here before. I know we have a few new guys, but we've been in this situation before, and just play it out, compete at a high level. Obviously, you got to tighten some screws when you're down that much, but just play through it.
How's that?
It's cool.
Damion was talking about how with like 15 seconds left, he threw the ball to you, so you would get the last shot, and then you just kind of threw it right back to him. What gave you confidence in him to take that shot, or did it just kind of work out that way?
I mean, I got double teamed, so I made the right play. We throw out the double. I trust my teammates. I trust everybody out there. It's something that we've scouted, we've schemed. Teams are going to throw different defenses at me, and the quicker I can get off the ball and quicker they can attack it, it's the advantage for our team. So I think that was a good play that we can always revert to when, we're looking for schemes when teams are trying to throw junk defenses at us.
Over the last 2 years, you've talked a lot about defense to offense, and that fluid transition was another one of those nights where once the defense got going,
100%. I think in the first half, they made a lot of tough shots, and when they're making tough shots, we can't give them any easy ones. The step back threes with the hand in the face, I can live with, but when our defense gets spread out and they hit the middle, and it's a one more to the corner wide open shot, that's what we can't live with. So once we started getting stops, they still took some of those deep shots, and we got the ball and we ran, and I think that's when we're at our best.
With the way, last season ended for him being out of the rotation, just, what do you think, especially those last 6-7 minutes tonight, the way you played, maybe do for him?
I mean, it's all confidence. That's what this game's about. You know, you go through phases, you go through situations. You know, it's not easy for everybody. That's why it's the NBA. You know, it's the highest level of basketball in the world. You know, so you just have to have the resilience to just keep going. And that's what our team has, and that's what campaign is. You know, we just have a bunch of fighters no matter the situation.
Talk about schemes and double teams. DeAndre Ayton felt like you guys had a good rapport there as far as finding the angles and then making the right pass from there, which is what you just said.
Yeah, it's something that we've talked about in the past, just, you know, being in that short pocket, and for, you know, him to be a dominant post up big, mid-range big, you know, I think that's a next step that he can take to his game is playmaking, especially when a lot of attention's on me and Chris, and, you know, he's usually around that free throw line, being the first person that you throw to out of the double, and, you know, it's usually 3-on-2 or 4-on-3 on the backside.
But were you aware that Chris wasn't out there the last 3 minutes? Was that weird at all?
No, I mean, it wasn't on my mind. Team was rolling.
When you found that first pass to DeAndre, when the trap wasn't just close, I don't know if you're like, oh, we're in business now, we've got this down.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he's going to find out, you know, that it's going to make his job a lot easier because, you know, he's automatic from that area where you catch it at the free throw line. And if he starts making that jump hook, it's usually going to be the low man that's going to meet him at the free throw line. And like I said, he'll have 3-on-2 on the backside. Should be an open 3.
You had a conversation with him at the end of the third quarter. It seemed like after that, either he got it, so he got more locked in. With how big was that, just for you to reiterate what you have to do and maybe what led to what happened before?
I mean, you don't play this game by yourself. You know, there's 15 people, you have a coaching staff, you have a front office, and everybody has to be on the same page. I think, you know, we're young teams and rebuilding teams. I think they don't have success because they don't talk as much to each other. And, you know, I've been in those situations. So we always talk about over communicating, you know, get sick of hearing my voice. But, you know, we have the agreement that we're all on the same page to win, right? Like, we're not telling each other anything, you know, to hurt your game. You know, it might sound like that or look like that at sometimes, but, you know, you just have to understand that we're on the same path, same mission.
But outside of him talking about worrying about his plus minus, what do you think about that as a debut game for?
That's unbelievable. But, you know, I knew it was coming. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to play the right way. And, you know, big ups to Golden State. You know, they have that culture, they have that environment, and, you know, you can see, you know, it's instilled in them, and, you know, that's how they've been so successful as they've been.
Nobody wants to, it's a long season, obviously, we don't think about playoffs right away, but could you feel the fans, the atmosphere that you guys have here tonight is being like it was last season? This fan base was rabid to get Dallas House built with the walls.
How many games have you been to here? A few. Past 3 years, it's been rocking, man. Every game. They don't bullshit around here. They don't bullshit. All right, y'all.